Before the exterior pyramid familiar today, Maya builders create an earlier temple on the Great Leveling at Chichen Itza. Archaeological tunnels reveal that the later El Castillo encloses this substructure rather than replacing it stone by stone. The inner building has its own stairway, sanctuary, and ritual deposits, including the famous red jaguar throne and a shakmal figure found during modern exploration. Dating remains debated, so assigning a precise year to this phase would invent certainty. Workers first leveled a plaza, quarry local limestone, burn lime for mortar and plaster, and raise a rubble and masonry core. The site's builders operate within a thriving urban center of the terminal Classic and later periods, combining Maya traditions with forms once simplistically labeled purely Toltec. Construction begins as a layered sacred history, not an empty site project. A later campaign expands the monument around the earlier sanctuary. Surveyors establish a square base about 55.5 meters on each side and orient 4 stairways toward the cardinal directions. Builders create a broad core from limestone rubble and mortar, retaining earlier sacred fabric at the center. The Great Leveling provides a prepared ceremonial platform shared with other major buildings, so new work must align with an existing plaza and processional routes. Teams quarry porous local limestone, rough-shaped facing blocks, and carry baskets of smaller fill. Lime production consumes large quantities of fuel and labor before mortar or plaster reaches the site. Because no Maya construction account survives for this pyramid, workforce size and annual progress cannot be stated. The best evidence is the building itself, successive skins, buried rooms, masonry joints, and later repair. 9-step terraces begin to rise, each course narrowing the working platform above. Sloping panels and vertical zones articulate the faces while internal fill supplies mass. Masons build retaining skins carefully enough to hold tons of rubble and mortar through tropical rains. Temporary ramps likely move material upward, but their exact layout is unknown. Corners and terrace lines must stay level around all 4 sides, and drainage must prevent water from washing plaster or entering the core. Seen close up, the pyramid is not made from giant monoliths. Its scale comes from thousands of manageable stones, repeated lifts, and enormous volumes of fill. The 9 levels later invite cosmological readings, often linked to underworld layers, but the safest narration distinguishes the observable architectural count from any interpretation of what builders intended it to mean. 4 monumental stairways climb the terraces. In the present restored count, each visible flight has 91 steps. Adding the upper platform produces the famous total of 365. That correspondence is traditionally associated with the solar year, but Mexico's INA cautions that 20th century restoration affects how confidently the modern count can be treated as an untouched ancient design. The north stair receives special emphasis through feathered serpent heads at its base and balustrades that guide the eye upward. Masons set risers, treads, and side ramps at a steep angle while maintaining alignment from plaza to summit. Repeated stair modules turn ascent into measured movement. The time-lapse presents the count as a real feature of the restored monument and the calendrical meaning as a strong interpretation, not an unqualified construction diary. At the summit, builders construct a temple with 4 entrances and a principal facade facing north. The interior is divided into front and rear rooms, creating a compact sanctuary above the massive platform. Serpent columns and feathered serpent imagery connect the architecture with Kukulkan, although inscriptions do not give us a simple dedication narrative. Stone lintels must bridge openings, while corbel vaulting closes rooms by stepping masonry inward course by course. The temple raises total height to about 30 meters above the plaza. From below, its doorways form a crown aligned with the stair axes. From above, the summit commands views across Chichen Itza's ceremonial center. Only selected people likely reached this level during rituals, but the exact rules of access are not preserved. Height turns movement into authority. Sculptors and plasterers complete the monument's visual language. Feathered serpent heads anchor the north stair, while panels, moldings, and the summit temple receive carved and modeled detail. Much of the limestone would originally have been protected by lime plaster and color, giving the pyramid a brighter, more graphic appearance than weathered stone suggests today. Pigment survival is fragmentary, so the time-lapse avoids assigning a fully certain color scheme. Craftspeople smooth surfaces, patch joints, and renew plaster damaged by rain even before the entire project ends. Offerings placed in or near sacred spaces bind construction to ritual activation. The pyramid's final form combines measurable geometry with images of political and divine power. Decoration is not an afterthought, it makes terraces, stairs, and doorways legible across the enormous plaza. Builders finish balustrades and terrace edges whose interaction with low western sunlight produces El Castillo's celebrated serpent effect. Near the spring and autumn equinoxes, triangular zones of light and shadow appear along the northwest balustrade and visually connect with the serpent head below. The phenomenon is observable, but recent INAH discussion emphasizes that it develops across many dates, not only on the exact equinox, and scholars continue debating how precisely it was intended. This distinction strengthens the story. Maya planners clearly worked within sophisticated astronomical and calendrical traditions, yet modern tourism can oversimplify the evidence. Surveyors did not need modern instruments to observe recurring solar positions. Repeated horizon watching, chords, sightlines, and architectural adjustment could embed celestial relationships into masonry. The pyramid becomes a stage on which time is visible. After an estimated sequence of decades, the later pyramid stands substantially complete, enclosing its predecessor like a sacred memory. Precise completion cannot be fixed to AD 900, and current INAH summaries place the broader building history between roughly the 9th and 12th centuries. The finished monument presents 9 terraces, 4 stairs, a summit temple, serpent imagery, and calendrical or astronomical associations at the center of Chichen Itza's great leveling. It will continue to receive offerings, repairs, and changing meanings. Centuries later, archaeologists tunnel into the core and 20th century restorers reconstruct major surfaces, shaping what visitors count and see today. The responsible ending is therefore layered: an ancient construction achievement, a debated chronology, and a modern restored monument. What survives is precise enough to inspire wonder and incomplete enough to demand honest caution.